expect from the Americas region going into week number 2. Maybe even expecting a different shakeup in the meta after seeing the action that we witnessed already for week number 1.
Yeah, in fact, this is where it all begins right now. Hell's Heaven. We just heard it mentioned from Vest in the interview. He's like, I don't like that map. Well, we'll see who likes it out of these two teams, as Tekixd and Citadel are going to be banning Magneto first and elect to have Emma, which I think Mace is going to be happy with.
Okay, saving the Emma. We didn't see Emma go through once in game number 1, our first series. We saw the Magnetos instead. After the Magnetos were the first to go here, Emma save on the other side. Not surprised here too. Wondering though, after the Loki gone here, where are we going to follow up? Could it be the Luna perhaps?
Yeah, it's looking like they're going to go with the Luna. Again, looking at what Tekixd played before, as it is going to be locking in that Luna. Looking at what Tekixd played before, they had no one previously playing too much Luna. A lot of Cloak, a lot of Invis. But looking their direction, Tekixd now is going to go Luna as well in the response and the Invis. You got to get both those core, strong strategists out with that triple ban down below. We'll see who they elect to save up top here. It's going to be that Cloak. And again, what did I say? The MVP was going to be Ad there with 40k consistent healing. That's why they got that locked up.
That's a good save here. And now we get to see the triple ban back-to-back from the red team being on the Luna, Invisible Woman, and that Loki. So being able to save that Cloak, you know, you have that ready to go here too. And now being able to save the Invisible Woman as that last save here too for Citadel.
Yeah, Valentina loves Invisible Woman. We're going to see her play that role. Look for her to have some clutch gameplay. Invisible Woman, the Jill of all trades, can do a little bit of everything there. And often the unsung hero. There's pushaways that you don't see. I love really just top tier Sue play. And all the strategist bans, all of them for Tekixd there. So they have to kind of think about what else to pull together. We got Rocket Raccoon. We haven't seen a lot of Rocket this time around. Ultron also going to get some play. And shall we see some Penny, who, if you're on the ladder, and he's been making up quite the stir.
Always gets me excited because, you know, sometimes after seeing the action that you witness within your own respective games and then seeing the changes play out here, what the pros could do to push a lot of these heroes to their limits. Of course, Penny being able to have that power up together with Rocket allows Penny to have more of those armors comparatively to what Rocket's armors give you. I believe it's like 35 extra there too, but in general, just being able to have that available to you controls so much space. And as we get started for our very first map of domination here, let's see what we'll be moving on to.
Yeah, we'll see what these teams have their final locks for. We've got Tekixd versus Citadel Gaming. Match 2 on day 5. It's going to be a big one. Let's head into the domination. Again, first cap is important as we have Cap, Blur playing Cap on this one.
And we do have a change-up, by the way. Tekixd made the swap out of the Rock after giving the initial shields over to the Mantis. So the Mantis here together with the Cloak and Dagger and the Ultron.
Yeah, it's surprising because Ad played a lot of Cloak last time, but going to be going to that Mantis, maybe a bit more flexibility as Wolfos is going to the Cloak and Dagger. And right now, right away, high ground's going to be going to Tekixd. Citadel there on the low with the Groot on Monster. And Mace Emma, great time to be able to push people off with that kick on this map.
Already starting here, Tap putting in a good amount of pressure before trying to take a much more roundabout approach here in terms of positioning to split some of that attention, as Usher being on that Punisher that we saw have so much success here for Citadel. Able to get set up here just before following up with Groot being the first to go here. Love the side-by-side comparison that we currently have between Fraud and Usher.
Yeah, Usher is relentless. We saw a lot of that whenever we casted them on the last few days. And Fraud with that follow-up. Great opening from Citadel, gaming the one they're exactly looking for consistent DPS and push now as Monster and Mace. They don't want them to have any space. Look at that. Using the Thorn Last Walls to block off the corridors and just push towards the spawn. And this is what you want to see out of this team.
Love the side-by-side, too, from our observers. Being able to catch the action and the pressure from Tekixd side. Blur taking a good amount of pressure, backing away. And does have that Mantis ult, though, to help Tekixd push.
And back cap a little bit. Tekixd trying to get cheeky there on the back, trying to force them to get out of there. But Fraud gets the elimination on Brute. That's going to keep the momentum up. The unbelievable coming from Mantis and that ult. Right now, they're just trying to make this a fair fight, as Avery's going to be using Extermination to keep everything healed, but the damage. But Usher is making that job easy for Citadel as they continue to push.
The final judge here, nail in the coffin. Citadel Gaming take control over another fight and keep up their progress, already plus 50% at this point. And Tekixd will maybe have to rely on Wolfwolves having that Cloak and Dagger ultimate from the Eternal Bond to close in that gap. Well, here goes the back cap.
Yeah, we saw a lot. Yeah, there's that back cap there from Tap. Great little great little Psylocke as she goes into the dance, and the butterflies trying to lock up an elimination. But Avery going to be traded with Frost, so this could be their window to get that gap. It's followed by Monsters group hug, getting everybody together, and they're storming in there, taking down the support. Blur trying to get some pressure on these strategists, going for Valentina, but there's Invisible Woman doing what she does best, Vicky getting out of danger.
Gotta jump away, hide if you can here now with Tekixd being able to plant their feet on that point, push back Citadel Gaming. They're gonna be able to wait for Mace though, and after Mace comes back, they will have that Psionic Seduction.
They're not responding, they're just recovering over there. It's like, it's just absolute carnage, just trying to put the pressure forward. We've got the turret now putting the pressure on, trying to get some early poke damage and pick. This neutral fire always so important, and Citadel does a great job at it without those ultimates. We've got the Eternal Bond ready to go. It is fired away. Mason's also got Emma's ultimate. We'll see if they use it and combine.
Tap though getting that first pick onto Fraud will just delay the Omega Hurricane for another fight now. Citadel Gaming down to a 5-man as Tekixd over on the other side had just utilized the Psionic Seduction. We also saw the Soul Resurgence. Mantis being able to get that ult just as quickly. Now on the other side though, you have the Psionic Seduction coming out from Mace after finally coming back, and the positioning from Tap to be able another pick onto Mace, not going to be able to out heal the pressure that Tekixd was putting out.
The flip of the script, and it's coming in the form of Tap tapping that shotgun with Psylocke, getting those ever so crucial flank picks on the strategist, on Valentina in particular. Great job there from Tap, not only putting pressure on the strategist, but doing the back caps, doing a little bit of everything. Right now, that's the player that's getting it done.
Tap, a little bit of a slow start before that first initial swap up from Citadel being able to take that point here. Now as Tekixd come in, Tap specifically getting that pick onto Usher before the invisible boundary came out. Talk about timing from Tap. They were not ready from the other side. Omega Hurricane now unleashed between Citadel just to desperately try to take the point. But you gotta deal with the Mantis Soul Resurgence first. Tap, the MVP thus far within this first round.
Tap is going crazy, just perfect poetry in motion. They had that set up for the final judgment. You had Punisher about to go in the ultimate with Invisible Woman. Instead, they burnt it. Now, Baru also putting the pressure on Velocity going down. This was all Citadel Gaming at first, Vicky, and now Tekixd making things fun.
Oh, and that was off of the initial back cap too, together with Tap and the Captain America. They overtake it, split their attention, but specifically the Mantis Soul Resurgence really coming in clutch, even to burst out the Omega Hurricane that attempted to try to harass their backline.
Yeah, look at this Mystery Heroes comp. You got Captain America, Mantis. Like, it doesn't matter. Great job on the 3 subs. And Tap just, I mean, those 70 limbs can't be said enough. Not only that, though, see that big O, that big 0 next to the desk for Tap? That's massive as a Psylocke. You just have so much consistent pressure, and that's with her invisibility going from 3 seconds down to 2, so you have even less time to be stealthy.
That's even without, by the way, the Magneto power-up together. Saying being able to see what Magneto could bring to the table in a lineup where Emma Frost comes into play because Magneto gets banned. Emma Frost together with the Psylocke comes in clutch with the damage output that you find in Tap. Absolutely putting on that performance already with the speed bubble coming in from Tekixd just to get to the point faster.
A devastating team up indeed, as we have the Eternal Bond to open up at least in the side of Tekixd, as well as Extermination. Going to be rough because all you have is Usher with nothing to combo it up with, so a little bit of a risky potential ult because they're going to look to dive him. Tap probably knows their assignment, and they're going to go right for Usher right away. We've got Steve Rogers showing he can do it all day as the point collapses.
Taking a good amount of pressure though off the rip, forcing them off the high ground here too, with Avery having that Ultron ult though just to start things off, trying to get Citadel off, and with Velocity going down first, this is going to be Tekixd taking over the point first here for round number 2.
I mean, right now, Tekixd, it's like they had their first little rough patch, and then it's been the Tap show going crazy with the Dance of the Butterflies, getting the double there in the full elim. The whole group was together down there underground, and that's exactly where Tap wanted them.
Man, you look at what Citadel Gaming's got coming forward. I mean, a few ultimates already ready to go. Make it 3. Monster about to have that strangling prison, but Tekixd also, the way that they've staggered their own ults on purpose, are also about to have that soul resurgence from the Mantis.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, somebody's got to change up this momentum, and it's going to be at the hands of Usher. They do have that Groot ult to combine with. We're going to see if we get that combined with Valentina. They tried to do this earlier, but Tap put an end to that. As Citadel now trying to get that pressure on, using this little faux wall as long as they can. Monster now trying to get everybody together so he can get that imprisonment. We'll see if he got the window that he likes, but no, it turned blur. Gets the pick.
Literally looked blurry the way they came out of left field. Monster could not look in his direction. No ability, no chance to use a strangling prison. Yes, you have the soul resurgence. Usher now just putting in the pressure. Valentina follow up onto Ad and Avery. This forces out the eternal bond now from both sides, just keeping the survivability here. Tekixd are just trying to hold their progress for as long as possible to get even more percentage there on the point and before having to reset.
We typically see this Psylocke v Psylocke whenever one's going off, and Tap is definitely doing so. Fraud, though, nice job there as they got together. We got 2 eternal bonds coming out, but Citadel came on top. 70% for Tekixd with only a Captain America ult to show for it, but Tap also has that dance ready, that ult for Psylocke, and we've seen some massive advantage pulled from it.
Approach with Monster having that strangling prison, though, first. Still feeling a good amount of pressure right from the front line between Blur, Avery, they're right there too, having that Ultra ult as Blur is the first one to initiate. Citadel having to back away just for now, waiting for them to go right into their line of sight. Mace now with the Psionic Seduction though from Mace.
Just pure pressure as Tap goes 1-2, make it 3, he wants 4, and there's the 4th and make it 5 with the dash through and the finish period to cap that point back.
Ironic with Fraud also being on the Psylocke and then having no impact from the dance of the butterflies in comparison to Tap. I mean, even the tentacles are going crazy here. Just looking at the way that Tap is literally 24-0, has not died yet.
Currently only 1 Fraud on Psylocke, unfortunately, here. But right now, each team has nothing in their ultimate charge. This can be a pure neutral fight. These usually really tell the story of these matches. And I just love Tekixd. They're just going from these underdogs. Nobody really knew them to absolutely playing out of their mind. And there it is. There's the echoes for the double pop from the Psylocke shotgun.
The echoes coming in to put in so much damage pressure when you're least expecting it in a side room where everyone is grouped up together. Valentina with the invisible boundary here too, with the eternal bond to be answered back. Now both sides utilizing the cloak and dagger ultimate. The survivability keeping everyone alive for now, but it is Fraud to go out first once again.
Yeah, and Usher is getting out there. That's going to be tough for them to make up from this. And right now, it's 99%. Tekixd looking to take map 1. We do have got a little bit of dance going on. We've seen it plenty before from Tap and Brute now finishing the job. And this just looks like a team that is completely different than what we saw in the uppers. They're lower bracket kings right now, and we're seeing it live.
We are seeing every team go through such insane changes after just a few days from playing last week into now. Tekixd looking insane on that first map.
Everything landed like it was scripted, and unfortunately Citadel Gaming didn't get the rewrite. Tekixd there looking strong. If we look at the stats screen, wow, look at Tap there, 31-0. Pretty sure you can be proud of that stat line no matter what happens in this tournament.
17.6 thousand damage output, no deaths coming in. Tap was going crazy here. The survivability too from the triple strategist really helped them out, because you also know that Mantis being able to get that ultimate pretty quick with the soul resurgence really helps just keep everyone to play aggressive. But Tap together with the AMER Frost just looked great, especially with that team up, the burst output that you saw, and then the Captain America too coming from Tekixd just allowed them to get right back to the objective just as quick.
Yeah, and it's about doing your job, right? If you want to simplify the hero shooter here with Tekixd, everybody did their job. Obviously, Tap showing and executing their job tremendously here on Psylocke. But they all just did what was needed for them to get this win. And the best thing is they did not panic when things were definitely not looking their way to start things out. And from that initial push into spawn, it was lights out.
Wonder here another situation where the first pick was taken out by Tap, and then you still had Valentina having the invisible boundary, not worth putting down there in that second interaction. But the first time we saw the invisible boundary come out, kind of catching Valentina off guard, where Tap was able to get that first pick onto Yusher could be difficult. Just trying to find these ult tracking opportunities just to make sure the Dance of the Butterflies was to be expected in certain rooms like that.
I mean, this was the Tap highlight reel. If we just check out what we just saw, and that's the 0 limbs, right? We saw her 0 deaths. We saw Psylocke just always in the shadows, and they just could not seem to have an eye on that. And the Tap would get rid of Yusher, the biggest threat, right? Understood the assignment, and from there was just no momentum able to be had. Citadel, though, they're an experienced crew. You can get things back together. Sometimes map 1 doesn't show the story. We saw that with Envy. They came back and won over Solaris, and then, you know, the rest was kind of history up there in the upper bracket. So can Citadel Gaming do the same? What do they need to change up?
That's a good question. I'm wondering here, looking at what we have in store for us. Map number 2, though, on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. It could be either Convoy or Convergence.
Welcome back, guys, to Marvel Rivals Ignite Day 5, and we're just coming off a crazy potential Cinderella story in the making. Vicky, we'll see if they can get the job done, or will the clock strike midnight? Listen, I've seen Captain America's, Vicky. I've sit them, you know, I could do this all day. A lot of the time, I should have logged off yesterday, but they got the job done. Blur was going crazy as well.
Dude, I'm looking at Techie, and if this is that Cinderella story, they'll do whatever it takes to possibly play against Sentinels if they could possibly ever find themselves pushing that way through the grand finals. That would be an insane run, actually, but that would highlight how motivated they are to even get there.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I wanted to see from a lower seed team, just like playing and having fun, having a good time, knowing that you are here on the biggest stage for Marvel Rivals, and we're seeing them rise up to the occasion, going head-to-head with Citadel and taking map 1 over them. As we head into map 2, Citadel did get to pick the map and the mode, and it is once again Yggdrasil's Path. Convoy, here comes a big band phase. We'll see if they change things up.
Citadel said, enough with the mental projection. We must stop Tap. This is a problem. Emma Frost off the table there. But then on the opposite end, the Magneto taken out from Citadel.
Yeah, I mean, she's got diamond form for a reason. She can hard carry. Definitely just insane way to shut them down without going directly for Psylocke. Obviously not going to let them have access to the best Vanguard right now in Rivals. Now flip the script. We do have Mag save in the EMF save we always see, and this was Luna last time. They're going to go with the same thing here.
Okay, on both sides here too. Wondering, after watching some of Tekixd's games, if this was a similar case here. Maybe that's why we saw Tap on that Punisher previously here. So we get to see the ban from the Cloak and Dagger, and then on the opposite end, the Luna Snow.
Yeah, this is what I thought we were going to see, because Ad played a lot of Cloak and Dagger, but then he was able to flex out, and then they were able to trade roles there for strategists. Tap had a 50% accuracy on Psylocke. I mean, that's crazy for Psylocke, and how much, you know, just bolus that she can fly out. So I'm curious if without that Emma, are they going to lock into that? Yeah, do we see that Punisher? We have an Invis save up above there for Techie, and I know that they definitely like their Invis, and so good to have that locked in for them.
Okay, here for Citadel, though, they decide to protect the Cloak and Dagger. That sustainability that we kept seeing while they had banned it from the opposite end here for Techie. See which, all right, the Torch here coming out. Very similar to what we had seen beforehand, too, within our very first map phase for the ban.
And one great thing about that Cloak and Dagger save, what is Cloak and Dagger's, or at least one of the biggest weakness, is Magneto. And yes, the save is there, but we have not seen the other weakness, which is Hawkeye, a lot at this moment. I do know that Wolfos does like to play a lot of Cloak and Dagger, and so that's going to be interesting. We've got the Invis now going, so we'll see what they end up doing. I like the Groot, though, from Blur.
Thinking here, we're going to witness from Tap 2 with the Punisher. Not surprised there, looking at the fact that Citadel trying to utilize those flyers. Map number 2 on Convoy. I like how it's staying pretty consistent with the different maps that we've seen thus far. Even though it's just been that one series going into the second one, just as exciting here.
Yeah, without question. And Tap now going over to the Punisher. We're going to get a different look from what we saw, at least last game. But again, a lot there previously. And map pool wise, I'm taking the pools that we currently have. You know, they made that rotation. What was that, about a full season ago now, if you count half seasons? And we've got ourselves a pretty strong one. Would love to see more maps come into it. But about all of them are pretty good. We've seen a good rotation of them in every map being played.
I also just keep learning new positions to play off of that I think is very interesting. Reddit coming in swinging though from the gates here. It's about that next corner that I was highlighting in our last series. Strong it is here, just being able to have that high ground advantage, but also with Avery still sticking on the storm as we keep mentioning just the flying technique here from Tekixd now. Looking to see how that's going to work with Tap being on that Punisher too. To look behind him from Citadel Gaming, trying to utilize the Punisher through the portal.
Yeah, we saw Solaris do this a lot. Love the old Punisher and the turret on the portal. Great way to get Punisher and portal together here for the back and get that pressure. We saw Energy do pressure with Human Torch. Now they're doing the same thing, forcing Tap and friends to back up. And look at this aggression. This is what you want to see out of Citadel after what just happened. Usher getting in there on the Ultron from the skies. And they're doing a great job here and lots of momentum right now for Citadel. Great response.
This is so smart because it was the quick burst damage through the portal to then buy your spawn, swap over, then you go into the triple strategist, and now Tekixd trying to do something similar. Come in from Blur's portal instead, and Tap is just gonna spray away being on that Punisher turret.
Yeah, taking pages from each other's playbook, seeing if they can get a pick, but Usher instead getting that extermination on as Ultron takes out the other villain in Loki. We've got Monster trading with Tap, Fraud, Monster, Citadel, all working together in harmony here, and it's looking perfect for the course.
Man, being able to wipe out Tekixd once again to get this first checkpoint. Citadel now are looking way better than what we saw between that very first map.
My goodness, could we actually have a 1-1? Would love to see that open up. This is two teams again. Tekixd playing here as the underdog. Citadel heavy favorites from most fans out there as they're pushing in this first corner. Very tough push here, and this is one of the key moments of this map. If you can get around this corner, you can usually get the job done.
Well, Tekixd about to have 4 of those ultimates online. Citadel have the answers for it, though. Dropping in from the skies before getting pushed back. The force back is crazy here. Forcing Mesa back away, trying to negate the eye of Agamotto on top of it. So Resurgence, the invisible boundary here, too. Citadel now just trying to play on the edge of that invisible boundary, but having to be careful with those Groot walls from Blur.
That's what separates the good versus the great Invis woman players, and we just saw one doing a fine job there, but they didn't even need it. They're able to still get that pressure on early as they got the pick, and they still have plenty of ult in terms of resources. You've got Fraud with Psylocke, monsters to combine that, so a lot going here for Citadel still.
Wolf was about to get the invisible boundary once again. Here comes that Psylocke ult though from the back from Fraud, just trying as Tap just unfazed, just keeps spurring through that one choke. There's the invisible boundary now from Wolf was just trying to close in the gap from the psionic seduction that Monster puts down. They did lose out on Valentina though in the process, and now Citadel Gaming backing away over to the other side, still trying to boost up some more of that damage, looking at Tekixd specifically, and as they're going to be able to try to push in once again, just trying to stop at them, but the eye of Agamotto getting shut down from Tap.
Yeah, 2 Agamottos out and 2 nothing burgers coming from it, unfortunately. And a lot of resources used there from Citadel. They used it all. I mean, they had Immas, they had Psylocke, and everything's now charged back up as Avery finishes the job up and they're able to reset momentum. But here we go. We're going to get that same thing. We're going to get that Punisher turret immediately with the pressure. They're going in, and it's going to be a hot one as they both collide.
Oh, moving it together too, together with the Soul Resurgence, just going to be able to hold forward, trying to harass that backline. They've already found Avery, but they lose out on velocity here. Fraud also has the Dance of Butterflies, and now the Eternal Bond is going to just keep them and their feet planted on that point. Citadel Gaming in a nice retake approach to try to get that second checkpoint.
Great portal placement to block off that other half. Great awareness from Tekixd backing out of that. And then they got a little bit of a back cap and they finished off the job. And they are not, in fact, they're getting rid of the brakes. It's all gas. This is what we did see in Domination. They're very aggressive in terms of how they like to play. Tekixd now, they've got Tap. They've got the final judgment that they can combine here with Wolfels. We'll see if they end up doing that or if they end up holding it for the later half.
Ad being on this looky here too, slowly approaching, getting that ult. Brute's about to have that meteor. Here comes Tap though with that judgment. Wolf's still holding on to that invisible boundary. We answer that with Citadel. Don't even need it after they're able to find a meltdown maze. Velocity's gonna meet him right back in the spawn, and it's gonna be another takeover here from Tekixd.
I always hate when that happens. Yusha has 1 HP left. Like, whenever you just almost get the elimination, but not quite, Yusha was able to escape that. They didn't need to combine anything. That was a strong final judgment there. Again, not using it on the last half of this part of the map here. Now, Brute, and they're keeping up the momentum. We've got the clouds opening up from the sky, and Omega Hurricane landing down. Vicky, let's see how many elims they can get from this, if any.
Not anything. At least just buying into the space and even more time before backing away, forcing Citadel back, but also didn't force out any ultimates either. Here comes Yusha now with the Ultron ult. The Dance of the Butterflies is immediately countered with the invisible boundary. Great timing from Wolfles, and the meteor over to the other side, trying to find its mark. Doesn't land onto anything from the back of the cart.
That fight had more flashes than a paparazzi runaway. That was everything was used, and not one elim outside of, I guess. We had just one player go down, but Blur finishing off the job there in Velocity. That was chaos with not a lot of result.
Well, now they can do the catwalk over to the Walk of Shame through the spawn room doors, because currently losing out on those first initial players was detrimental, but they will have those 3 ultimates coming into the next fight.
Just crazy. I mean, I just aged 5 years watching that unfold. I don't know how anyone survived, but Avery trying to get some pressure on the early Ultron. They want to see who can gain the airspace here, and there's final judgment. Mace putting up that aggression early. Has that Agamotto 2 have not succeeded. Can they make it 3 though? Hitting all it matters is 3 times the charm, as Fraud now trying to get that pressure. Monster trading, and it's looking like this offensive push is going to be good to go.
Oh, the Eye of Agamotto here in the safety of the invisible boundary too. Looking at Techie and looking at Tap making the quick swap, by the way, over to the Psylocke after dying there on the Punisher. Techie just retake the point. They trickle in. They send Citadel back, and that was with Citadel giving everything that they had.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go from the Punisher back over to what was working well. Actually, back down to the Punisher as Tap is playing a little bit of ping pong with the heroes. But yeah, Punisher has great sustain and poke here. So after they got the wipe, why not? But yeah, looking towards it, Fraud does have that dance to open things up. Ad's got the support ult that they can use at any point in time. And it looks like, yeah, they're going to have to do a lot of build up here. Still a minute on the clock though, Vicky.
See, time is ticking away though now, trying to get around this next corner. These Groot walls being the problem that they are, just controlling not only space too, but also support output. Now currently with the Soul Resurgence, Mantis moves up here. Here's that meteor trying to find it. Great save there too, huge coming in. Citadel, Mace just looking like get down, Mr. President, trying to protect Velocity in all of that, but then gets melted right through the other side as Tap comes in a flanking angle here over to the other side, combined hand in hand with Blur. They forced Citadel all the way back, essentially almost getting sandwiched as they were trying to find their exit.
Great awareness from Tap there, because you had Mace getting the save and saving the team from the meteor. It breaks the shield. He has nothing left to keep the team alive, and then Tap just holds W, mows down Doctor Strange, making him flee, and then that was the story that was wrote there.
Least here looking at Techie, they have 4 ultimates to match out of the 4 ultimates available. About to be 5, by the way, with Mace about to have the Agamotto, the Omega Hurricane. At least forces out the Eternal Bond. It was forced here from Valentina, and now you have to worry about the Strangling Prison, the follow-up, as Tap activates the Judgment here, the Dance of the Butterflies, but with no team to hold on the point. It's just all for nothing, dancing with nobody but Ghost, as Techie gets to plant their feet on this defense.
Not a single button wasted. That was an ult dump for the ages. I mean, just everything came out at once in the madness, and Techie was able to hold strong. And honestly, great job to him, because Citadel, again, was having all the momentum, all the pressure when they were kind of looking to get back in their bearings. Now, that was a good push. I think definitely what we've seen from this map so far. I mean, heck, FlyQuest just held it in the first centimeter. So we'll see if they can do the same here on defense, and we'll see if they change anything up as they flip the roles.
Yeah, not a main run here. If anything, I really want to put highlight onto Tap and the way that Tap has made the adjustments, whether it be trying to get to the point with the rest of the team just as quickly to defend here on that Solid before swapping right back over to the Punisher. But it just really helped them out in terms of the amount of damage output, especially against Flyers that Citadel was trying to roll out with.
Yeah, without question. I mean, the favorites are sweating Vicky, and the underdogs are playing like they'd never heard the word. This was definitely supposed to be, you know, what we would see formality out of Citadel. They've been here, done that, but proud to see this Tekixd team kind of hold strong there on the point as they lock in what they're going with here. Now, looking on the defensive side, Citadel and their stats, I mean, everyone's playing a good game. Let me just say that. I think everyone's actually doing phenomenal as far as what they're pulling together, but Tap is definitely the shining star at the moment.
If anything changes beyond that, I definitely agree. Everyone is doing their best to not only trickle in together with their ultimates, holding it down here. Even the answer against Avery's Omega Hurricane into the Eternal Bond was essentially forced out here, but maybe a different look from Citadel now that they're the ones on the defense.
Yeah, like Yusha here on Ultron has played tremendous in the past. Definitely, again, a lot of the team's performance is how he does. You know, it's a 6-person team, but he definitely does a lot of heavy lifting. Now, Blur pushing forward with Groot. Great Groot spot here. You can really separate those vanguards and cut off not only them from their team, but the healing, most importantly, which we just saw.
Oh my god, cutting him off with another Groot. Well, I'm just looking at the damage output being put out by Blur, and it's making my eyes just tear up just a little bit. Brute being on that Magneto just to close in that gap before backing away. You're putting a good amount of pressure in from the skies too. Feeling that just a bit, just to recharge on that shield before pushing up here. Trying to get around this next quarter could be so difficult, but they're waiting out some of these ults, looking at Wolfwolves, who's about to have that invisible boundary to help out Tap, who's about to have that judgment.
Yeah, you get the triple support though, so you're gonna have to. Oh, beautiful pick there. Triple support has a lot of ultimates to keep him alive. The strat just ready to go with Yusha and Valentina locked in live. Valentina getting the trade on Tap. That's massive, and that's gonna reset. That's definitely gonna win the fight there, as Tekixd is gonna have to get back together.
More time now wasted here as Citadel with Ultron and cycling through the 2 other support ultimates that they're about to have is gonna allow them to have that sustainability through all the ultimates that Tekixd have coming in next.
Yeah, only using Extermination there. Now they've got the Eternal Bond, or they can go with Invisible Boundary, but here it is. We've got Storm coming from the skies, Omega to Hurricane going down, and do they get anything from it? Oh man, Mace with the trade. That's a bummer.
Avery going down though in the middle of that Omega Hurricane here too. Saw the 10th year of velocity with the Eternal Bond that was used up earlier on, but this just forces Tekixd right back to the spawn room doors. They still have those 3 ultimates at least that they're still holding on to.
Yeah, it's been sunny skies over there for Citadel. They haven't really worried about Avery, and unfortunately, we've seen that just not connect now a couple of times. So we'll see if they're able to build it up. They did play that before on previous matches here, as Brute now getting that poke damage, that pressure, building everything up. Citadel, though, fully loaded. Can Mace land the Agamotto that he's been waiting for? Not in his Strategist ult, and not getting pushed away, as Tap has that pressure there with the final judgment.
Thing is, he's got only 1 meteor, and now the invisible boundary's been brought up. Another push on the Eye of Agamotto. Here comes the meteor trying to find its mark through the doorway. Doesn't find anyone being able to reposition. Tap still finds Monster though. Monster going down first sometimes here with this approach, and Yusha actually having the Extermination just as quickly as we saw it used up for the first fight. Coming back, forcing back Tekixd just for now, but Wolfwolves does have that invisible boundary.
Got Fraud here with the all-powerful Emma ult, and right now it is all momentum for Citadel. They're going to see if Tap can maybe get the pick as Monster makes his way back here. Brood now trying to go on the backline, get these strategists out of there. There's 3 of them. There's so much to deal with at once, as Brood now does get the pick on Mace, getting rid of one of those vanguards, but there is Monster back from the spawn with clobbering time.
Oh, the clobbering time found 3 stuns, but then Avery with the Omega Hurricane, the follow-up from Brew. It is just a shish kebab here as Tekixd finally clear out Citadel.
Finally, there's that ultimate Omega Hurricane. She called the weather warning. Nobody listened, and they didn't need to the last 2 times, but that time they got the best.
We'll say it's hurricane season, but they don't want to give it up just yet, even playing off the ledge of the car as Tap is forced to unleash the judgment. Even through the invisible boundary, though, they have to back away. That just allowed them to recontest just as quickly off of Mace's portal.
That's why Ultron's ult is just so powerful in this triple support lineup. You can have that pressure, and all it takes is that to get this team pushed back. There's only 17 seconds on the clock, and Groot going down as well. They're going to have to figure something out, or this is going to go into a 3rd match.
I'm here for it, Cozy. We've been waiting for this moment, but there's going to be another portal play first that they have to get through. A Tekixd tap off to the side. Avery getting stunned. The Eye of Agamotto coming out. Wolfos having it available, though. Citadel now with velocity, having that eternal bond. They lose out on Valentina early from Avery in the skies, and the clobbering time now from Monster. Citadel Gaming just trying to play this out for as long as possible, but Tekixd aren't giving this to yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, he called that one with NATO there. It was with Nito. That was not a good meteor that you wanted to connect there. But either way, Tap is doing what he does best. And it looks like they don't need it as they're going to maybe get this point. The overtime. The overtime is just barely hanging on, but they do it. Tekixd is able to get it done and get this first point with no time left.
By a crumb, they hold their breath. They can breathe now. They get to that first checkpoint. They get that limited time back now. 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock, but they have to clear that space around the next 2 corners.
And that's not a lot of time for this part of the map, if I'm being honest. But right now, at least Citadel, the only thing they have is that extermination. You've got plenty. You got another Hurricane. You've got Final Judgment. So just spacing these out, making sure you get the best of them. If they can get Yusher away from there, this is going to be big. Will he open up with the extermination into this Omega Hurricane? Yes, he does.
That's the immediate counter. Although you do get shielded by your own Magneto, you're forced to back away. You literally poked your head out once with the Omega Hurricane. Now you're forced back. And here comes Tap, though. The insurance policy to keep that pressure up once that Omega Hurricane was done. Aber then follows up, finish off Valentina, and Citadel Gaming now down 3 members, it looks like here. Make it 3 at that point with Fraud going down, as the rest of Tekixd could still close in this gap.
Yeah, showing why that extra speed boost they gave to Punisher in this new patch was so imperative. I mean, just able to really fly through there with the big guns, as now Mace trying to get some space, trying to get in there. They have the Eternal Bond to push in. You've got Magneto going up route. Will it be another with Nito? Oh, unfortunately it was, but they may not need it, just like last time, Vicky, as they push in for the last potential. Yeah, we got maybe one more fight in here, but this is a big one.
Oh, the whip Nito, the cry Nito here. It always hurts physically, but Avery's right there to still keep harassing Valentina. Tap now gets the other strategist, and the only one on the other side from Yusher. And Citadel Gaming, though, having only that ultra persistent ability is not going to be enough. Even when it's last minute, less than a minute on the clock, Tekixd still get the job done.
Yeah, skies open and the scoreboard to follow. Great job from Avery stepping it up, and great ultimate from Wolfos there, keeping everybody alive, because Mace did get the connection there, but unfortunately was not able to get enough damage through that invisible boundary. Now we have another 2 minutes on the clock, and again, Citadel did not get the full push, so Tekixd could win it right here, right now, in advance.
See a little bit more here. Brute controlling that space, looking to the side, though. They ignore what they're waiting for them with the Captain America here, too. Here comes Yusher now with the extermination. The Omega Hurricane now trying to find its mark over to the other side. Straight down the middle as it clears up the space here. No combination here in general, as Tap still holding on to that judgment just for that next push.
A good pressure there. They used the cloak bubble to keep everybody up. Broad trying to get that quick damage, but Final Judgment coming. We just saw this wombo combo. It was the storm ult into the Final Judgment. He's chasing, he's hunting. We got 1, 2. It's a cat 2 at the moment, and they have all the pressure. Not a lot of time or space left. Can Tekixd do this?
Oh, they're right there, just approaching slowly. Avery gets another KO into velocity. Tap and Avery together have woken up. Tekixd right now looking at the spawn room doors of Citadel Gaming. Citadel, they thought they had a chance. They thought they could hold back Tekixd, but they can't. Tekixd, take it home.
Call the odd makers. This Cinderella team just found the glass slipper, and they are advancing in the lower bracket. They are 1 game now away to secure their spot in the playoffs. They qualified into this thing. Nobody gave Tekixd a chance, and this is what you want to see in Ignite, man. I'm gassed.
Dude, this is crazy, Tekixd now. I mean, honestly, I'm happy it was a 2-0 right there, but I was waiting for it to go the distance because I wanted to see Tekixd play out more. Just the fact that they were able to reset, even with Avery going down first a few times there on that second round, but still being able to push through together with Tap, and then finding that momentum. Avery had everything to pop off there.
I mean, just incredible performance. I mean, there was no time. 0 time. left on that. And on top of that, they also had ultimates pushing through their portal. Tap had to go out of the turret and then kind of hop into the portal when they could. Everything was kind of leaning towards Citadel Gaming there, and a goodbye to them. A great team. Unfortunately, though, did not do enough against this. There was nothing stopping. This was fate right here for Tekixd to advance. And I gotta say, I'm excited to see them because they've got a lot of heat and potential. They just seem locked in. And Avery, I want to just shout out. We've said a lot about Tap, but Avery did a great job there.
Absolutely. Avery at the very end between the Omega Hurricanes just to put down the damage, but also something else that isn't thought about. You're trying to force out strategist ults there too to enable Tap to then use that wombo combo that you mentioned, Cozy, with that judgment. We saw it both on the defense, we saw it on the attack, and that's what allowed them to really clear the end of that second point specifically too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, sometimes you look and like, oh, you whiffed, you didn't get the Omega Hurricane off. And it's like, no, they did exactly what they wanted to, whether it was an ultimate or just a cooldown. We saw the Gloak, you know, bubble have to be used to keep everybody alive. But then, yeah, Tap is just running after them and hunting and doing what Frank Castle does best there. So again, just a great job of coordination. Wolfels did not have Invisible Woman, I believe, last map. That is what they play so well, and so good job for them locking in and really coming up with some clutch ultimates. Mace, really solid Vanguard, but unfortunately, those Agamottos, they were not in sync today.
No, they weren't too. And even though you and I were having fun talking about Brute with these meteors in general, it's the fact that when you look at Citadel and they've used up that Magneto shield like you talked about, they've used up that Eternal Bond because they have to think about Avery, then you have to consider Tap coming in from the back line too. And that's kind of the answer that you need when you're a team going up against, where you look at Citadel, they're triple strategists. So you kind of have to be able to force these and cycle through these strategy ults on purpose.
Yeah, without question. They had so much they had to line through, and they didn't have like a flank hero to get the early strategist pick before they could do the ultimate much. Yusher was alive plenty, but they were just on point with the strategy, and I've just got it. I'm blown away. I really am. I think this was our first time watching Tekixd, and I'm a believer. I'm in. I'm all in. I think I gave it 2-0 to Citadel, I think. Yeah, consider me completely wrong. But great job. I think, yeah, everybody, we highlighted this last time, but everybody did their job on their team well. And you can tell a lot of this is on Tap. I'm wondering if we do get the privilege of interviewing him, because I want to see who these guys are.
Yeah, I'm curious too, and I want to know what the synergy is like between Tap and Avery. You know, Blur also putting out a performance in terms of buying a lot of space there, making some quick swap ups if we needed to see that portal contest too. And against triple support, it can be so difficult sometimes as well.
Yeah, Wolfels too. I mean, I feel like this team, sometimes whenever you are, you know, the underseed, you're just able to do what you do best. And we, you know, again, haven't had the privilege to get to know them much, but these guys typically just put in so much hours of just fun, ladder, competitive play. And Tekixd, they showed up on all cylinders today, looking like a completely different team than what was up there in the upper bracket.
Makes you wonder what's changed. I've said this already before, but it makes you wonder what's changed within week number 1. Now we're in week number 2, day 1 of week number 2, but specifically to highlight that slight little break there are in between these match days made a difference for a team like this. Yeah,
without question. And I think, really, I mean, we saw this, and you made a great point earlier. You know, sometimes you don't have to have the flashy doom feed, the elim feed of just, you know, constant, you know, one person getting 3-4 eliminations. It's a team effort, and I love the strategy that they used there against that triple support comp that they had. And Yusher, I mean, Yusher was doing crazy stuff on Duelist in the past couple of days, and to really make him almost a non-factor outside of a couple exterminations. And I've got to say, Ultron's ult is actually, extermination is great to counter Storm, because you've got the damage on Storm and the healing with everybody in that Cat 5, right? So a great job there from them. But guys, we have an interview ready for you right now, as Blur is here to join us. Blur, how you doing, buddy?
Hiya, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, dude, we're electric over here, man. Congrats on a huge win. I mean, I've got to know, is this, you know, proof of growth of you guys, or is it proof that you guys have just been slept on the whole time? How are you feeling?
I mean, I think the fact that we were like underdogs versus Citadel is kind of like illegal. Like, they're really not that good. Like, it's more of them being hyped up than, and also us being downplayed, especially after a loss to Shroud X, where we did play like pretty poor. So it's like understandable, but like the fact that we was underdogs the past 2 matches doesn't really make sense, especially like today. Like, they have Mace on the team. It's kind of expected win for us. But yeah, I mean, we all feel good. Obviously, going into the match, we wasn't sure if it was going to be a 2-0, but we were pretty confident that it would be.
Wow, I was gonna say, like, you sound like you're out of breath, and then you came in swinging. I love this energy. I love it right here, man. I love this. I need more from you guys too. Actually, you know what? Riding off of your comment, what is some things you want to say to the people who doubted you guys? Some things that, you know, you guys were able to figure out going into today's match. It's just be like, everyone needs to like keep our eyes on us because we're good for a reason.
It's more of just the fact, like, I feel like we were like overly doubted just off the one loss to Shroud X, right? Which is like, I think it's kind of fair, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think it should really just nullify us to that point where we're just expected to lose our next matches, especially like the past 2 days. Like, I think we've definitely grown as a team. Like, obviously, like we figured stuff out, but I wouldn't really say that it's like, I don't think that we're underrated. I think it's just people overrating Citadel. But yeah, I respect like their team, right? Like, apart from like maybe like one player who's like really bad. But the rest of them like are really good. Like Fraud and Velocity, like they're both really good. Like the team is like solid, but I think it's just the fact they're overrated.
Well, listen, buddy, again, the confidence is immense, and people, yeah, they didn't know you guys. I can tell you now, you're not going to be underdogs for long. I mean, now that the team, you know, now that the world, the Morpho Rivals audience has seen you guys, I can tell you confidently from my angle, man, I'm excited, and I'm going to watch you guys with great interest. I got to ask, you're one match away from sealing in the playoffs. Tell me what that would mean for you to make it there, your team. I mean, the journey you guys have gone on.
I mean, I think we'd be obviously like really happy that we'd make playoffs. I think it's only us, like in our group at least, who's made it to this stage, who's like not being paid to play the game. You know, like we're doing like one scrim a day. Like it's, I don't know. Like obviously it would mean a lot, and we'd all be very happy. But I think our eyes are mainly on like making like the mid-season event. That would be pretty cool. So yeah.
I mean, absolutely. You guys are the story. I mean, you guys are the dream of what a lot of people look up to. They're like, hey, anybody can sign up and get this thing done. Hey, man, I got to say, Blur, you played some cap. You showed you could do it all day, man. I was a fan, and I'm even more so now after watching that. I want to say, go celebrate. Enjoy the team win. You've got a big one coming up potentially, you know, tomorrow in the following bracket here. And I'm just excited to watch this team, man. Congrats again on the big win.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
You too, buddy. Good luck out there.